Evander, Razor Ruddock was able to do very well in this bout, as you mentioned earlier, without using the jab much. Now, his left hand was okay. Why do you think he didn't jab more against Mike Tyson, which I know is something you would want to do?
Well, I feel that, you know, when you, like, I feel that his jab wasn't his biggest weapon. His uppercut was his biggest weapon. So if he wastes all his stamina using that jab, then he wouldn't have anything to back that jab up, and that would leave him open for the right hand and the left hook.
We're going to have to cut you off for just a moment because the story of the night is Mike Tyson and his victory, tainted as it may be, and Barry Tompkins is standing by. Barry. You were going to put him away.
All right, we're with Mike Tyson right now, and he is talking with a whole group of people here. It is just absolute chaos right now. I'm going to try to sneak in here and talk to him if I can.
Thank you. Right back here.
We're going to try to stay with you right here if we can. We're going to sneak through here. There's a real traffic problem here.
Hold it.
We're going to stay right with you.
Let the man get through. Hold it.
Right with you here. I think I'm supposed to be in there with you guys.
Well, live television, as you can see, is sometimes at best unrehearsed, as we are finding out now. There's Mike Tyson taking a shot at Wally Matthews. And Wally, maybe you can take it with Mike.
Thank you very much. All right, we're with Mike Tyson right now. Wally Matthews has joined us here too. And Mike, first of all, the obvious question: were you surprised at the stoppage when it happened?
Well, not really, but you know, he was hurt. I figured probably Richard still made a decision that he thought was right. Even if he hadn't stopped, I would love to have stopped him and hurt him and put him out.
Give me a report card, your own report card on Mike Tyson.
I never judged myself. I thought I was good that I won.
You have said that we have not yet seen the best of Mike Tyson. Have we seen the best of Mike Tyson after tonight?
No, not because I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm just trying. I'm doing my best to improve myself as a fighter.
You were a lot more patient tonight than I've seen you be.
Really? Well, I've been training really hard. I never took off since the Stewart fight, and I wanted to win this fight so bad because he started talking that I'm from Jamaica and we tough, we climb trees and get watermelon, and you know what I mean. No disrespect, because God, he punched so hard.
How tough was he?
He was a hard puncher, and he stayed in it even though I knocked him down. He was hit with a good shot on his equilibrium, and he went down. But he got back up and fought well.
In its own way, it seems like this is going to be a good thing for Razor Ruddock, because he's going to be able to make a case now, hey, I wasn't hurt, I want Mike Tyson again.
Well, good. I'll be glad to give him a fight. I fear no man. You know, I feel sorry for those guys that want to take on a guy like me, the killer of many.
Evander Holyfield's watching you right now. Anything to say for him?
In due time. He's not the real champ until he fights me.
Thank you, Mike. That's Mike Tyson. We're going to try to get Razor Ruddock at some point, but right now, let's take it back to you guys.
All right, Barry. Well, you, Evander, you heard Mike Tyson. Any comments?
Well, you know, Mike think he's a champion. You know, Mike, that's something Don King probably don't put in his head. And they saying that I'm running for Mike Tyson. It seemed more like he's running for me than I'm running for him. I'm the champ. He's the one that wants the opportunity. He now think that I should want to fight him for the opportunity.
Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, and Barry Tompkins standing by downstairs with the trainer of the victorious Mike Tyson, Richie Giacchetti. Barry.
All right, thanks very much, Charlie. I'm with Richie Giacchetti right now. Richie, let me have you give a report card, first of all, on the performance of Mike Tyson.
Well, I was very satisfied. You know, we had two first-round knockouts, and then we needed to work, and it went well. A couple times he fell asleep on me a little bit, but he came back out of it and went to work. He was hurting him to the body, but one thing is, Razor does hit hard. You know, I said that before, any big man, but we wore him down. He was one-dimension fighter. He had a left hand, and you know, that's why we beat him.
What everybody's going to be talking about, Richie, is the stoppage by Richard Steele when he stopped it. Not so much the fact that he did, but when he did.
Well, you see, there's another thing. The guy was going by with 3 or 4 punches unanswered. He was going off his feet. He'd been knocked down before. He was, I think he was incoherent. I think he did a good job by stopping the fight. You know, if they say again, instead, you know, go a little bit longer, Mike would have finished or maybe hurt the guy. We're not in the business like they were saying. We had a guy down for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, counting over the guy. It's a great thing. He knocked the guy out. He beat the guy. How many rounds did you give Razor Ruddock? We were winning the fight big. I mean, he didn't ever hurt Mike. Mike was never in trouble. I thought it was a very good job.
Did this fight go the way you drew it up, and was Razor Ruddock a tougher competitor than you expected he would be?
Well, we figured he would be tough. He has that on our style. He's big man. Big man's going to give a little man trouble. Until you got to wear a big man down, then you take him out. I mean, we were prepared to go 12 rounds. He got tired. Mike didn't. Mike kept getting stronger and stronger. When the second win, if it went a little round, he'd have got in the second win and finished him much easier.
What happened after the fight? It seemed like everybody was fighting except Ruddock and Tyson.
Well, D-Roy, his manager come over, his brother come over and started hollering and went to grab Mike. All I did was grab the guy and say, hey, man, be cool. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting sucker punched, kicked on the ground and everything else. I think I took a pretty good shot. See, I'm still here.
You're unmarked. Give the decision to Richard Giacchetti. Give the decision to Mike Tyson. It was a good win for him, despite the fact that somehow people are going to wind up talking perhaps a little bit more about Richard Steele than about Mike Tyson. But it was a good performance from Mike Tyson tonight. Let's go back to Charlie.
All right, Barry. Again, Richard Steele, who has been throughout the past 5 to 10 years considered to be one of the preeminent referees in all of boxing, is caught once again in the eye of a fairly significant storm. And we'll continue our live coverage of the Tyson-Ruddock aftermath on ESPN's extended edition of SportsCenter. Here at the Mirage in Las Vegas for the post-fight news conference. And before we hear from him, let's get one final thought from the Evander Holyfield, the heavyweight champion of the world, on tonight's fight and where we go from here in the heavyweight division. Evander?
Well, you know, it was a good fight, and I felt that, you know, both of the guys fought a good fight, and both of them put 100% in. It's good for the boxing fans to see the number 1 and 2 guy get in there and strap it out, and both guys fight. And I'm just looking forward to getting on in there with George Foreman winning and fight the winner.
Evander, well, good luck, and we'll see you later this week down in Houston. Wally Matthews now is standing by with Donovan Razor Ruddock. Wally.
The obvious question, the stoppage of the fight. What were your feelings at the time that Richard stopped it?
You know, we're gladiators and we're fighters. I was in the fight. I knew exactly where I was. He knocked me down. I knew where I was. I got back up. I fought. You know, this is a heavyweight fight. You get hit and you go down. You get back up. You fight. But I think he should let us go out in style. You know what I mean? I think he should let us at least let me go down and let him count me out or something like that. I don't think he should start the fight the way he did.
We was hit hard.
And Tyson come over and he says, you know, that was bull. I mean, that was bull. You know, because he knew that the fight should have go on. We're gladiators. We get paid a lot of money for this kind of fight. Let's go out in style.
Yeah, all right. The way you're talking, though, you're sounding like you're saying that the ending of the fight was inevitable. That Tyson was about to knock you out anyway.
No,
is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, okay? Because you recover. I mean, sometimes you get tired in there, and then you get a second win. Then you were supposed to give you a chance to get that second win.
Okay, you fought a kind of a curious fight from my standpoint. Watching you, you didn't really use your jab very much, and it seemed like you were trying to hit him with single power punches. Was that the plan going in?
Well, he had a pretty good defense. He had a good defense, and I thought I was going to get him coming in underneath the ducking on him with my jab. But apparently, he had a better defense than I thought he did. But you know, it was a good fight.
All right, let's talk about the 2 knockdowns now. How badly were you hurt?
One knockdown. That was only one knockdown. Okay, one knockdown. The first one was a trip. The second one, he knocked me down. I got back up, but I knew exactly what was going on. You know. I mean, he's a strong puncher, but he's not as strong as I thought.
Richard Steele did everything we protest that he would do. He stopped. He called a knockdown when there wasn't a knockdown. He stopped the fight when he wasn't even hurt. If you look at it, he bumped it. He did everything he could so this man can lose.
Okay, Murad Muhammad, the fighter's promoter. What action are you going to take, if any?
We got to file a protest. I mean, this is evident. This is big dollars here. This is this man's whole life. Once again, we was knocked down by the heaviest puncher in the boxing, been Bone Crusher Smith. Perez could have stopped the fight, but he's a competent referee. He didn't stop. He got up. He ended up knocking him out. You could see Tyson there. His punches was getting weak. It was just a matter of time we would have taken him out.
Okay, well, obviously you had a problem earlier with Steele. You'd requested he not work the fight. Then he was appointed. And then yesterday, Murad, I heard you say that you had no objection to Richard Steele and that you weren't worried about it.
We never dreamed Richard Steele would do this in front of over 130 foreign countries. 16.5 million viewing audience was watching this. 500 plus closed circuit outlets, 300,000 hotel rooms. The world was watching it. We ain't never dreamed Richard Steele would do something in front of all these people, but he did.
All right, the controversy aside, the 6th round was your best round of the fight. It seemed you had Tyson hurt at the end of the fight, at the end of the round, and then in the 7th round, you kind of let him take the play back from you. What happened?
You see, I had to fight in Spurt. I was trying to see, okay, he was going to run out of steam or something like that. I was going to catch my second win and come on in the later rounds. That's what I was trying to do. He's a strong fighter, so you have to know when to hit him and where to hit him. You can't just go in there and hit him in the early round because you will recover early. So I have to wait in the later round and come on and hit him when he lose a lot of his steam. That's what my plan was.
Thank you.
Okay, a very bizarre night here. Back to Charlie inside.
You got to do a CNN.
Wally, if you're just joining us and we're unable to see the pay-per-view show at 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the 7th round, referee Richard Steele after a flurry of punches, but Mike Tyson, and clearly had Razor Ruddock shaken, stopped the fight. And so we have some controversy. You heard Razor Ruddock and his promoter, Murad Muhammad, say that they are going to file a protest first thing in the morning. Meanwhile, here in the press room, Mike Tyson and the news conference continues. Let's go down to the podium.
There was concern in the Rules Committee about having Steele as the referee. And first thing Murad said when he came out of the ring was, for now on, we'll fight in Jersey. So what do you think about that?
Let's fight again. I fear no man, no mortal, nobody but God, so we can do it again. I would love it.
Like that. All right.
Mike, did you enjoy the fact that Richie was able to get you back in the fight? I mean, Richie talked to you straight at you. Did you enjoy that?
You know, can I tell you something? After the third round, since you made that statement, after the third round, I said, oh, God, he's not that bad. He's tough and he could punch and all that, but I know he's never been in there with a fighter like me.
Mike, at the end, when the referee stopped the fight at the end, did you think he was ready to go at that time?
Anyone that saw the fight and is a fighter, he wasn't going to last the round. I don't know how many seconds was left in the round, but he wasn't going to last the round.
Who's next?
Whoever. I'm going home, and I got a son. I'm going to hang out with my son for a while. He's big enough to play with now.
You know, it ain't nothing wrong with him dancing again. You got another young man right there that just offered me really cold. So there's going to be a lot of excitement now because the people know that the heavyweight division is going to be sitting right here. So we're going to take them all on. And it ain't, when Murad get here, I want to talk to Murad. It ain't nothing wrong with them dancing again. So we will see how we can work it out. That's all. It's a situation here where we're fighting the best at all times. So we got a man that we got set up to be the next bout, but we know what we see what the public opinion says because we're not running from anyone.
Right here. Jack Fisk, go ahead.
Mike, were you catching on to his left hook? Was he telegraphing it after the first 2 rounds?
Well, can I tell you something? I'm very perceptive, and I was anticipating his punches. I seen his punches. I seen them all. Yeah, I seen
right from the very beginning.
From the start of the round, I seen them all. He was too emotional. When I watched him, when he came in the ring, as soon as I stepped in the ring, I looked at his face and I saw he was too emotional. I said, "No way he's gonna win." I was telling my trainer, I said, "He's gonna lose tonight."
Yeah. Okay, over here.
You went to the body a lot. Was that more than you've done before, or was it by design, or what set it up?
Well, my trainer, for some reason, my trainers told me I was working very hard. For some reason, I don't feel I trained that hard. I really don't, you know what I mean? Because I'm hard on myself. My trainer said I worked real hard. Maybe it's because I've been training so long, for 4 months constantly. But I felt that I could have trained harder. I didn't feel confident in my training. But always in the ring, I'm always 100% confident. But I wasn't confident that I trained long enough, and I felt I could have done better.
Okay.
Mike.
Excuse me?
How long since you discarded the peekaboo style?
I don't know.
Mike, you said you weren't happy with your performance tonight. What didn't you do right?
I could have do more punches. I could have put more combinations. I could have do more combinations together. I could have jabbed more. I could, you know what I mean? Whatever I have to do, my objective is just to be the best that I can. You know what I mean? Just the best. The things that some people say look good, you know what I mean? I wasn't satisfied with it. If I was Razor Ruddock and I was fighting a guy like me, it would have been over.
Mike, would you categorize that as a dirty fight? And did you think the referee should have done a little bit more?
Mike Tyson now 40-1, a controversial 7th round TKO of Donovan Razor Ruddock. We will continue our post-fight coverage of the Ruddock-Tyson fight live from the Mirage in Las Vegas, Nevada in just a minute on this extended edition of SportsCenter.
SportsCenter, we've been kind of observing everything from a periphery here, but looking back on the fight, I thought it was ironic that during the week, Razor Ruddock didn't want Richard Steele as the referee. His corner, they were very much opposed to this situation, but they were told, look, the governing body says Richard Steele will be the referee.
Now, why the controversy about Richard Steele? You go back to the Meldrick Taylor-Julio Cesar Chavez fight when he stopped it with seconds to go in the final round. And also, from Ruddock's standpoint, the controversy over the fact that Richard Steele works for Steve Wynn's Mirage Casino as a pit boss, and that Steve Wynn, as a site promoter for boxing, has an options contract and futures deal with Don King for some Mike Tyson fights. So that was the perception of a conflict of interest. Tell you what, Steele is going to have have a lot of questions to answer, because from where we were sitting, it did appear that indeed he had his faculties about him, Ruddock, and could have continued that fight. Let's get on to the top story of the evening, which is, aside from Tyson's victory, Bo.
Charlie, pretty interesting night, and you and Richard Steele probably have a few things to talk about, don't you?
Boy, there's a controversy brewing here in Las Vegas, and at the news conference behind us now, Murad Muhammad, who happens to be the promoter, of course, of Razor Ruddock, who Wally Matthews talked to just a moment ago, is talking about filing a protest. Of course, Murad Muhammad never wanted Richard Steele as the referee in the first place and made a big stink about it earlier in the week. Donovan Razor Ruddock is on the stage now, along with Murad Muhammad, and we'll get to them in just a minute. But first, let's go to Barry Tompkins and Wally Matthews, who talked to the two gladiators tonight for their final thoughts about the fight and the aftermath. First, Barry.
All right, well, first of all, let me ask Wally, you know, it seems like every time we have a big fight, Wally, I wind up saying, what a bizarre night, and here I am again saying, what a bizarre night.
You know, really, and it's just become such a mess. And I have to say, I feel kind of bad for Richard Steele, because I think he was in a bad position to begin with here. He was objected to by the Ruddock camp. He's got a connection, you know, to the owner of the hotel here, which may or may not mean anything. Most likely it doesn't, because I think Richard Steele is a man of the highest integrity. But he does work for Steve Wynn, who has an interest in Mike Tyson fighting here. So the questions are going to be raised, you know, did Richard Steele stop the fight to favor Tyson? Now, I'm not going to be the man to say yes or no, but that's something that he's going to have to answer.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's just strange that Richard Steele, once again, has the final word. Let's go back now to Charlie. Charlie?
And apparently we have had some camera failure in the back portion of the Mirage, where Barry Tompkins and Wally Matthews are standing by. So for some final thoughts, let's continue the train of thought, and here's Al Bernstein.
Well, I think there are a couple of things we have to really remember here. One, we have to remember the bout itself. Very important. We saw several things tonight. We saw Mike Tyson more vulnerable than he's been since the Douglas fight, and only in the Douglas fight. We saw in the 6th round Ruddock rake him over the coals, though he couldn't knock him down. Then we saw Mike Tyson respond and come back. That's important. The next part of this is the referee decision. I wouldn't for a second question the integrity of Richard Steele. I think he's a man of honor and tries to follow the rules. But the bottom line tonight is, at a bad moment, Richard Steele, who is has been one of the best referees in boxing, he froze, Charlie. He made a very bad decision. It's very possible Mike Tyson would have knocked Ruddock out maybe 40 seconds later, maybe 2 rounds later, but I don't care. You have to give him the chance.
Absolutely. Richard Steele, of course, in the eye of the storm in the Chavez-Taylor fight last year, just about a year ago for that matter. It was March of last year. And the odds of March have not been friendly to Richard Steele. But for Mike Tyson, a 7th round TKO over Donovan Razor Ruddock, who put on a better performance than many perhaps expected. Whether or not there's going to be a rematch down the road, of course, time will tell. Ruddock and his camp are planning some kind of a protest, but generally those kinds of things go for naught. For Al Bernstein and Dan Patrick, Bob Lee, and the entire crew, Barry Tompkins as well, I'm Charlie Steiner. So long from the Mirage in Las Vegas, Sports Center on ESPN, and we'll see you later.
Sports Center is brought to you by Levi's 505 and 540 jeans for men.